Welcome everyone. I hope this video finds you well. I would like for you to take a moment to imagine that everyone you have ever known and loved has just betrayed you in the worst possible way. Of course, for most people, this would be one of the most devastating experiences of their lives. Out of all the infinite possibilities that life can throw at you, an event such as this would certainly be debilitating at best. Where could one go for comfort under such circumstances? Who could one speak to for guidance after having their entire life turned upside down on its head? Such a betrayal is exactly the dilemma that Arjuna, the protagonist of the Bhagavad Gita, also known as the Song of the Lord, is faced with. Actually being part of the larger divine epic known as the Mahabharata, the Gita begins on an ancient battlefield, a battle between two factions, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Arjuna, a skilled archer on the side of the Pandavas, realizes that on the opposing side are people that he's known his entire life, his brother and grandfather included. Now, going back to imagination land, just visualize your grandfather himself, old Pop, ready to send you off into the great beyond. Arjuna, understandably devastated by the fact that his own family is willing to take him out for their own gain, loses the will to fight before the battle has even really begun. Seeing his dismay, his loyal charioteer, Krishna, steering several horses, insists to Arjuna that he must fulfill his duty, his dharma. Pleading to know how he could go through with such a thing, he begs Krishna for any advice. Advice he certainly gets. The song Goodbye Horses was performed by Q Lazzarus, real name Diane Lucky, written and produced by bandmate William Garvey. Working a series of odd jobs while simultaneously creating music, it was on one fateful day during a blizzard in which Lazzarus, working as a taxi driver, would pick up filmmaker Jonathan Demme. After playing some of the band's music for him during the ride, he immediately fell in love with their sound. It was in 1988 that the titular track would be featured in Jonathan Demme's film Married to the Mob, but the track wouldn't see any mainstream success until featured in his other film, The Silence of the Lambs, in which it became a cult hit. With its eerie, dark wave sound and strange lyrics, the song manages to leave the listener with a foreboding, almost unearthly feeling, all while being quite catchy. You might be wondering what any of this has to do with Arjuna's dilemma. Upon further looking at the lyrics of Goodbye Horses and its narrative, it may become more clear. Just kidding, I'm not gonna sing. The song begins with the lyrics. He told me, I've seen it rise, but it always falls. I've seen him come, I've seen him go. He said, all things pass into the night. The story of Goodbye Horses begins with our protagonist meeting with someone who has clearly reached some level of transcendence. Perhaps they're trying to learn the secrets of life or reach some form of ultimate happiness. In their exchange, the transcended person explains to the protagonist that the experience of life is a series of ups and downs, constant rising and falling, succeeding and failing, ultimately not lasting either way it goes, as all things pass into the night and fade away forever. Our protagonist is certainly not happy with what they hear, immediately pushing back on the sage's realizations. And I said, oh no, sir. I must say you're wrong. I must disagree. Oh no, sir. I must say you're wrong. Won't you listen to me? They beg and plead similarly to Arjuna, the difference being they fight against the enlightened being's word, insisting over and over that they're mistaken on the nature of reality, in a state of complete denial. The sage continues, explaining further through the second verse how through their own losses, failings, and disappointments, they've come to realize the truth. Perhaps because our protagonists can relate through the hardships that they've had to face, they come to accept the sage's word, understanding the cause of their suffering, vowing to fly over their horses, saying goodbye to them forever. But what does this mean? As Arjuna did with Krishna, we can look at the Gita for clarity. As previously mentioned, the Bhagavad Gita is part of the large epic, the Mahabharata, which is without a doubt a narrative, a story with heroes and villains, love and betrayal, conflict and resolution. But when looking at it deeper, with a spiritual approach in mind, we can see that the Gita doubles as a manual for the reader on how to live a decent life, looking towards the divine. You'll find heavy symbolism throughout its pages, expounding metaphysical truths and directives through characters, places, and objects within the story itself. Going back to Krishna the charioteer, if you remember from earlier, he is the steerer of several horses. These horses, like many things in the Gita, have deeper meaning. Sometimes depicted as 5 in number, they symbolize the 5 senses: sight, touch, hearing, taste, and smell. Those senses being the foundation for how we perceive our reality. Now keep in mind Krishna himself, who steers what would be otherwise wild horses with confidence and finesse, this representing how he is the master of his perception rather than his perception being the master of him. Someone reading the Gita for the first time, unfamiliar with its characters, might be wondering how Krishna, a young charioteer, holds the wisdom of an old sage. As the dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna continues, it is revealed that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu in physical form, he being part of the Supreme Trinity. To convince Arjuna that he should go through with his duty and face his loved ones regardless of what may be holding him back internally, Krishna reveals to him his true universal form, Vishvarupa, said to contain the entire universe and be without beginning or end. Arjuna, overwhelmed by its glory, bows to Krishna's form. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. I am time, the destroyer of all. I have come to consume the world. Krishna's form, containing the entirety of reality, knows of its suffering, as naturally nothing can surpass it. Just like the sage in the song, Krishna, through direct experience, through direct knowing, is able to see mundane reality for what it is and transcends it. It comes and goes, the cycle being as infinite as Vishvarupa himself. Arjuna, having his reality turned upside down by the betrayal of his loved ones, and with some divine encouragement from Krishna, flies over his horses and is able to overcome his internal struggle, realizing the fleeting state of all things, reinvigorated by the fire of his Dharma. The wisdom held within the song of the Lord is one that, just like Vishvarupa, is infinite, and through its guidance one can find realizations on very fundamental truths. Whether you're Arjuna or the anonymous protagonist of Goodbye Horses, the Gita shows us that the battle within can be won.